विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगीव यस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वर्स नंबर 9। व्यज्यन्ते ह्यान्तरा स्पर्शाः मीलने चान्तरं तमः उद्गारे रसगन्धौ च इत्याक्षाणामान्तरग्रहः। So this Sat, which is manifesting in the form of this Jagat, and Sat pervades into all the names and forms. Sat pervades Maya, and so Sat pervades Jagat. Maya is this Jagat. Manifestation of Maya is Jagat. Unmanifestation of Jagat is Maya. And therefore, basically Maya, which is non-separate from this non-separate thing, is to be clear. Non-separate means that particular thing is pervaded by, which is Satya. Pot is non-separate from clay. This is just for saying. Clay pervades pot. That's all it means. Clay pervades pot means what? Clay and pot, there are two things. One which pervades, other which is pervaded. No two things. When one thing appears as a two, that is Maya. That is all. And in fact, Maya is one step further. What actually is an appearance is taken as a reality. And what is real is totally gone. That's Maya. So, name and form has an existence. For us, the existence is not a reality. In our Vyavahara, existence is not reality. Object is a reality. When you say pan is, how will you can imagine that pan is actually, as per the Upanishad, is means existence. Existence appears in the form of pan. You can't even think of that way. You cannot think of. You think the pan is means pan is real. That's all. Where are you bringing this another existence or Brahman or something and telling that is pervading, etc. So this is Maya. Maya means basically it appears in name and form, makes it real, and what is really real, is totally gone. That is called covering. That is the aspect of the Maya. It covers the reality. Anyway, so Sat appears in varieties of the names and forms. Sat alone appears through Maya. Sat cannot appear in all names and forms. Sadeva Some Damagra Asit Ekam. So Ekam cannot become Anekam. All names and forms Anekam cannot. So then, that is how we bring that factor, which is adding. Which is an addition, Eva addition. So Maya is basically doesn't add anything. Here Sat plus Maya is equal to Sat. Right? Sat plus Maya is equal to Sat. Sat plus name and form is equal to Sat. Gold plus name and form ring is equal to gold. No increase in terms of weight, no increase in terms of anything. Yeah, but then there is a name and form and function depending upon form. Depending upon form. There is a function. And so based on the name, form and function is basically due to Maya. That is only that, and Maya appears in this way. Name and form and function is associated to it and brings the real, makes it real also. That is what the job of ignorance also. Why should we go to Maya? Ignorance also does the same job. Covers the nature of the rope and create a new name and form called snake and make it real also. Yeah, just appear. So, ignorance of the rope does not just cover the nature of rope or cover the rope. It just does not do that. It appears in different form, name and form, and makes it real also. Same way Maya does. Exactly this way. And so Maya also, we have several examples we have seen in Atmabodha that even the Waker appears in so many forms. Ekaha, right? Waker is one alone and appears in so many forms. Dreamer and the entire dream world, all. One thing appears as but when will Waker appear in many forms? When he sleeps. That's all. Right? When he sleeps. Sleep means ignorance. So when he is not aware of his own nature, when the sleep covers the nature of the waker, then it creates. So same way Maya also. Anyway, and what is that? We are analyzing a Vakya called Sadeva Soma Idamagra Asit Ekameva Advitiyam. Sat alone appears in this form, or that's how, the whole creation was Sat before it got created, etc. And therefore, and we are analyzing this sentence also, and in that word the idam is there. Idam, this. And this means basically this entire creation. And we are we have seen also that Sat alone appears in these 5 elements, in the form of 5 elements through his Maya. And then the gunas also, attributes of the 5 elements are also there. And those gunas have been, the existence of those gunas, have been proven by the senses. Each sense organ basically picks up, perceives a particular guna in the object. And that's how object becomes an object of knowledge. So this is how, sense organs perceive the external objects through their gunas residing in those objects, because the objects are made up of elements. Elements have gunas, and Indriya picks up the particular guna in that object, and that's how it picks up the object. And so, Bahya, all this external world also is perceived through the senses. And also, internally also, this all 5 gunas are there, and they are picked up by the same Indriya, etc. That has been now told here in this verse number 9. And we saw in the verse number 8 also that, Kadachit karne pihite sati pranavayo jatharagno antarha shabdah shruyate. In verse number 8 we have seen that the internal sound, the first thing is Shabda. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. Internal. Now in that he is telling that Antarha Shabda, the internal sound is being picked up. And that sound is produced by what? Pranavayo, Jatharagno. Varieties of the movements of the organs and the circulation and everything. And Jatharagno, in Jatharagni also, in the digestive fire also there is making a noise. Is making a sound. And therefore, that also you can listen when Kadachit karne pihite sati. When you basically cover your organ of hearing. When you cover your ears, then you are able to listen to the sound which is internal. First he talked about the external sound, etc., picked up by the Shrotrendriya, and now he is talking about the internal sound. Now in verse number 9, Sparshaha, Rupaha, Rasaha, Gandha, internal, they have also been picked up, and that is being told here. Vyajyantehi antaraha shabdaha. Antaraha shabdaha vyajyante. So, and here it is said antaraha sparshaha, let's say first. Antaraha sparshaha. So, antaraha sparshaha means the touch, which is internal, also has been picked up. And first he says jalapane. So, when you drink cold water, jalapane means when you drink a cold water on a hot day, definitely you can feel the coolness, within your alimentary canal. As it is going inside, you feel you have that sparsha of a coolness. So this is all. So we can understand that antara sparsha also. There is I have already told you that organ of touch is there. Basically the skin is there in the entire body. In the outside, on the periphery of the body also, and internally also. And anna bhakshane, second thing, while eating food, it is hot or cold or soft or hard, everything we can feel, right? So we experience this sensation, hot, cold, soft, hard, etc. of the food. So that is anna bhakshanam. So jalapane, anna bhakshane, antaraha sparshaha vyajyante. So basically these internal feelings of touch, temperature, etc. are basically manifested. Vyajyante actually means manifested, means they are experienced. Milane cha antaram tamaha vyajyante, we have to supply that. Antaram tamaha vyajyate, we have to supply. So you experience the internal darkness also. Rupam now, he is talking about rupam. So first he talked about shabdaha in the verse number 8. Now in verse number 9 we began with the sparsha, antar sparsha. Now rupam, antara rupam also you are able to perceive. Milane, unmilanam, milanam. Milanam means closing the eye, unmilanam opening the eyes. So that is, we have another word also, unmeshaha, nimeshaha. There is another word. Unmeshaha means opening the eyes. Nimeshaha means closing the eyes. Here it is milanam. Milane, so when you close the eyes, when you cover your eyeballs, basically, you experience the internal darkness. So, that darkness is experienced, that is a rupam. And that is antara rupam, basically. Internal rupam, internal darkness. Udgare, now, udgare rasa gandhau. So, rasa and gandham, two things are left over. Shabda, sparsha, rupa, now rasa and gandha. Udgare means, well, during belching, etc., we find that, whatever food you have eaten and you have a reflux, etc., or some acidity or something. So then, the food comes up to the to the throat. and you feel that what you have eaten, the taste also will feel, and also the smell of what you have eaten. Both the things you will feel. So anyway, so during belching, etc., we often find that you have previously eaten food, we experience the taste and smell of it. So that is also internal. So this is how iti akshanam antaraha graha. Graha, perception, experience. Antaraha graha, internal experience. Internal experience of what? Attributes. Which attributes? Shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa and gandha. So akshanam. Akshanam basically means, akshaha means a sense organ. Akshi means eye. Akshaha means a sense organ. And its derivation is ashnoti vishayan vyapnoti iti aksham. This aksha shabda is very, very popular. Very popular. Pratyaksham. Prati plus aksham, pratyaksham. Aksham, aksham, prati. Iti pratyaksham. Prati dinam. Dinam, dinam, prati. Dinam means a day. And prati dinam means every day. Dinam, dinam, prati. Prati dinam. Aksham, aksham, prati. Pratyaksham. So, well, towards every organ, this world is what? Pratyaksham. Pratyaksham is what? Well, this world is available to every sense organ. That's how it is. Shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha. That's how pratyaksham. Paroksham also, the word aksha only is there. Akshanaha param. Paroksham. Akshanaha param, which is beyond sense organ, is called, which is indirectly perceived. Indirect. It is indirect knowledge. So paroksham, which is not in direct touch with the sense organ. And so this is how pratyaksham, paroksham, all words have come from this aksham. Aksham means a sense organ. Akshi means eye. That's for sure. Anyway, so akshanam antaragraha. In this manner, the sense organs experience the internal world. Internal world also is picked up in form of the attributes. Through attributes, we can objectify internal organs also. So this is how he talked about the internal world, perception of internal world or experience of internal world, and experience of outer world also. So even this karmendriyas etc. also is an amazing thing that Tattva did not talk about how we will prove the existence of the indriya. That has not been talked there. That is been told here. We have seen already karya anumeyam. We have seen karya through the activity of this karmendriya and the jnanendriyas, both existence of karmendriya and jnanendriya are both inferred from their respective functions. Otherwise, any indriya is atindriya. Any indriya is atindriya. Atindriya means not available for perception. So karmendriyas are not available for eyes. Like your hand, right now, this is a gross hand, that is available for eye. But actually this is not the indriya. Indriya, we have seen that invisible principle which is lying in this, right? A capacity to hold, grasp, etc. That is there in this hand. That is indriya. That is not perceived by the eyes, not heard by the eyes, ears. So it is not available to any sense organ. So all the indriyas, jnanendriyas and karmendriyas are atindriyas, never available for perception. Then what we should do? If nothing is that is not available for perception, go to the second pramana, go to the second means of knowledge called inference. So you can definitely infer from its activity. If I am able to grasp, if I am able to hold the bucket of water, well, definitely I can say that there is organ of action, that is particular hastendriya is there in this hand. This is a golakam. This is a residence of that indriya. So this is how different types of functions definitely prove the existence of indriyas. And so now what are the functions of the karmendriya that we have to see, by which we can understand the karmendriyas are also existent or present in the body. So this, those functions have been narrated now of karmendriyas. Panchoktya dana gamana visarganandaka kriyaha krushi vanijya sevadyaha panchasvantar bhavantihi. Pancha. There are pancha karmendriyas, so pancha karmas. Different 5 types of activities. First is what? Uktihi. Uktya. Uktya means here uktihi. So ukti means the function of talking, definitely, which is unique to the human being. People say that a human being is unique because of the intellect. No, not at all. That may be there, but basically vagindriya, because of the word, language a human being possesses, that is the uniqueness between any other creature and the human being. All the things, if suppose a vagindriya is not there, let's just imagine, wild imagination. Suppose a vagindriya is not there in a human being, everything will not be there. Scientific invention will not be there. All this Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam will not be there. No books will be there. No mobiles will be there. Nothing will be there. Nothing will be there. Everything is possible. All the literature, All scientific invention, everything is possible just because one has a language. No, Swamiji, scientific invention means involves an intellect. Yeah, intellect is there, the person has invented. Now what? Suppose he has no language, he has no words, he has no Vagindriya. Think. It remains in his head. How will you give to others? Swamiji, but one can write. Have the words which you write, that those words are what? Which are spoken. There will not be any language. No books will be there. Nothing will be there. Person invents something, definitely invents, but it remains there till he dies. The other person has to come and, he invents something else, or he may invent the same thing. He also keeps in the mind and goes away. Thank God that what he invents comes out in the form of words and language. And that is what then the other scientist picks up that and goes ahead from that. And so, he further does research and this. Everything, entire world. I can't imagine without Vagindriya whether the human being can exist or not. It's a unique thing. That's how in our Shastra they always talk about such a precious thing is there, then utilize it properly. That's how they say, tapaha, Vangmaya tapaha, we have discussed in Kenopanishad. So tapasya at the level of Vagindriya tapasya, Vak tapaha. So basically is very, very essential because it is a very, very unique thing has been given as a gift by the Lord. Other than intellect, of course intellect is there, but then intellect also would be redundant if this language is not there. So human mouth is so highly designed and equipped with this help, that with the help of this well-developed brain, we can learn many things, we can express everything. Even the most profound ideas we are able to express because there is a language, there is a Vagindriya. So Uktihi, one Karmendriya which is Vagindriya, and the function of this Vagindriya is Uktihi, talking, etc. And then second is Adana, grasping, handling, receiving, varieties of the objects, instruments, etc. And so like this is the object. Adana means I can handle. With this I can write down something, right? So this is called handling of object, etc. Use it as an instrument, etc. So all this is possible because there is a Karmendriya, that is the hand, which is there in this gross hand. There is a hand. And so that is the invisible power of handling, grasping, etc. So there is another Kriya. Then the third is Gamanam. We have Padendriya, that is also Karmendriya. And Gamanam, of course, a movement. And movement means any kind of a movement, including a dance and everything. And you can run and walk and, all kinds of things are possible because of the Padendriya. And indirect movement also, you drive a car, etc. Actually, car runs, but you drive the car. And so it's an indirect movement for you. So all this is... but Swamiji, where the Padendriya, definitely the brake and the other things are there, right? And so it is required. So in an indirect movement or a direct movement, you have a usage of Padendriya. Then fourth is a Visarga. Because we have a Payu, you know very well. So that is, it does a job. It removes all the forms of waste from the body. So the human, they say the human body is like a very big chemical factory, and it is true. In fact, the liver produces, some doctor told me the liver produces several types of chemicals, biochemicals, which are produced there. And naturally, when a lot of chemicals are produced in this chemical factory, then there will be certain thing which will be toxic, certain thing non-toxic, etc. Some waste will be also produced which is toxic, intoxic, or not toxic. That also should be thrown out, and so that is done by this Visarga. Visarga means basically removing all this kind of a through the excretory system, which remove the waste products. And it is in form of both, very well. It is in form of urine or sweat or in form of fishes, stool, etc. That's the waste product goes away. And the fifth one is a ananda, that is upastha. That you know, karmendriya, that is upastha. That's a reproduction, and because of which alone every species is perpetuated. And it has been made a process which gives definitely a ananda, definitely. So that's how every species will produce its own progeny, etc. And that's how it goes on. That's how it has been always associated with some kind of ananda also. So this is how the five organs of actions are there, and five functions also have been narrated like that. That is uktihi, talking, etc., producing a word. Second is adanam, receiving, grasping, etc. Third is a gamanam, movement. Fourth is a visarga, removing all forms of waste, etc. And fifth is a ananda, that is reproduction, also is a function. So all the activities of these human beings will come under one of these five types. And Vidyaranya says, Krushi, Vanijya, Sevadhyaha. Krushi, agriculture. I mean, any other activity which you think of other than these five, all those other activities will be classified into this five only. Either maybe one or more than one. Like agriculture. Now procuring the seeds itself. Now he will go and talk about it, right? That I want so and so seed, etc. So then adanam, receiving the seed, and then planting, and also movement in the field, all this. So you can understand, gamanam is involved, adanam is involved, ukti is involved, and business, etc., other services, etc. All other kinds of activities, Vidyaranya says, well, we will have to classify under this. Antarbhavanti, he says that. Antarbhavanti. Well, we will have to include in this one or all the five or more than one. So all existing activities and even new activities which people generate. So, well, those new activities also will be newly created activities also will be either one of this or maybe the combination of two or more of this. So this is how so from these functions now you can understand the presence of or existence of a karmendriya in that respective golakam. That goes along with karmendriya functions, of course, and we can infer through its activity. That is also okay. But residing in that golakam only it functions. Otherwise no. It's pure, just subtle body, well, which has all the 10 indriyas will function. No, they can't. They definitely require a golakam, and they definitely require a gross body basically. In gross body they will be placed in a respective golakams, respective houses, respective offices, whatever you say. And that is how residing in that they will function. Otherwise they cannot function. And a particular gross body in which, well, all the 10 indriyas won't get, suppose, their respective golakams, then they won't function that particular thing. The particular activity will not be there, etc. And so this is how we see different types of gross bodies are there in which, well, all 10 golakams are not there. Then even though the whole subtle body is there inside, but only a golakam, which particular golakam, whatever it is there, accordingly that particular organ, indriya also reside in it, and that function will be possible. And I gave you example of a tree. You can take any other example, and that's how only definitely in the tree, you will find that in out of all the Pancha Jnanendriyas, only a sense of touch is there. Some of the trees, somebody told me about pitcher plant, which picks up. But actually pitcher plant also, which just does not grasp, going out and receiving and grasping, etc. It is very, very difficult. You will find in some of the trees also, but in general, and even if you find, you will not find all the 10 organs, 5 sense organs and 5 organs of action, all get manifestation in the tree where you won't find that way. They are not able to see, etc., etc. We see that. Anyway, let's go ahead now. Vakpani padapayupasthaihi akshais tatkriya janihi mukhadi golakeshvaste तत्कर्मेन्द्रिय पंचकम. So tat kriya janihi. So vak pani pada payu upasthaihi akshaihi akshaihi, by these organs of action. And what are those organs of action? Vak, etc. Well, we see that tat kriya janihi first. Tat kriya janihi means this. Kriya janihi means here created. Tat kriya janihi, the kriyas, the activities, tat, which we have already told you recently. Uktihi, adanam, gamanam, and etc. Anandaha, I mean reproduction and removal of the waste, etc. All these kriyas which we just saw, all those fivefold functions are created, well, by the vak pani pada payu upasthaihi. They are created by this fivefold karmendriyas, fivefold organs of action. And what are those what are these fivefold organs of action? Well, vak means mouth, organ of speech, and then pani, the hands, etc., or the organ of handling and grasping. Then pada, the leg or the organ of for the movement. Then payu, the anus or the organ for the excretion of waste. And then upastha, the organ of reproduction. So taihi akshaihi, by these fivefold karmendriyas, by etc., all the activities of the world are possible. And these karmendriyas also are, as I told you, they are not available for any sense organs. So you cannot see the karmendriyas, you cannot hear the karmendriyas, you cannot touch the karmendriyas, you cannot smell the karmendriyas, etc., etc. You cannot taste the karmendriyas. So we have never thought of like that, but this is a fact. Mukhadi golakeshu aste. Mukhadi golakeshu. And where are they? Where they do these activities? Well, golakeshu. Mukhadi golakeshu. So mukham, etc. is there, and mukha adi padat, you have to take other things. And then hand, this gross hand, gross legs, etc., etc. So the group of five sense organs, the group of these five organs of action are situated in five golakams in various parts of the body. And here aste word is used. That is, it's a singular actually. That should be a plural, but they have taken it as a group. Like we, in sense organs while discussing, we have said is a indriya panchakam. So panchakam is a group of five. So indriya panchakam means basically a group of fivefold sense organs. Same way here, karmendriya panchakam, a group of fivefold organs of action. And that group is indicated in a singular. That's how they have used the word aste actually. Aste. So otherwise it should be, if it is plural, it should be asate. Not aste, but it is asate. And here it is a singular. So this is how, these are all physical locations remaining there, well, they function. Now verse number 12. Manodashendriya dhyaksham rutpadme golake sthidam tachantah karanam bhakyeshu aswatantriadvinendriyah. So now he talks about mind, because this is over. And I hope you are keeping in the mind, these are all just an appearance of the Sat through the Maya. Appearance of the Brahman, appearance of the Atma, appearance of Sat through the Maya. All names and forms. All what we are discussing are varieties of the names and forms. By the word idam. Idam means this means this universe, which are all names and forms. They are various appearances of Sat alone. Why appearance? Because once you take out the Sat out of it, there is nothing. Nothing left over. If existence is taken out from the karmendriya, well, no karmendriya remains. If existence is taken out of the eyes, jnanendriya, even eyeball also, everything ultimately. But I am saying we are talking about indriyas, then definitely all these are varieties of the names and forms. They are just appearances. And that, when I will know that they are just appearances and Brahman alone is real or Sat is real and this is mithya, then will they go away? No, they won't go away. They won't go away. Why should they go away? Whatever you have created, you can destroy. What is not your creation, how can you destroy it? It's all Ishvara's creation. Nothing will go away. What is your creation? Jiva basically stand on Ajnana. So ignorance goes. What alone, by this Jnanam, only one thing is destroyed. And that is ignorance. That's all. Or the notions which are there in your mind, with which you move all the time. All the notions. You keep on moving that I am human being and I am so and so and or I am beautiful and whatever, I am handsome. All those notions you are there. All the notions you drop, that is moksha. Why do you hold on? You yourself are responsible for the bondage. Who said that you get suffering? That's how Ashocyananda shows that Prajnavadamscha Bhasas. Bhagavan says there is no cause of grief. I don't see. Why do you grieve? So, Maharaj, I am grieving so much and crying and you are saying like this, you are basically a cruel person. No. Dropping off the notions which is a product of the ignorance, while by destroying ignorance, wrong notions also will be dropped. That's a moksha. You are moksha basically. You are moksha. You are sat. You are pure existence in all the names and forms. All names and forms are your appearances. So basically, all this is just an appearance. Keep this thing in mind. We are going ahead and ahead. Now we are discussing mind. Mano dashendriya dhyaksham hritpadme golake sthitam. Vidyaranya comes to this mind, antahkarana, which is an antahkarana. Antahkarana means antaha, internal, karana, organ. We talked about actually earlier all the indriyas etc. which we call it as external, and he is going to give a reason why they are external, and actually this anyway, let me talk a little later. So Vidyaranya comes to this antahkaranam, internal organ, and we have already seen this in Tattvabodha also, that basically it's a one organ only. Here he gives a name as a manaha, but it's a one organ, has a four function. One organ with a four functions, given four names. That's all. So, and what are those names? As per their functions, four types of functions are there and four types of names for one organ. Manaha, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chitta. And we have seen the function etc. We will not go into that. If Vidyaranya discusses, we will discuss. Otherwise, Sankalpa, Vikalpa, Atmaka, Manaha etc. and Nishayatmika, Buddhi etc. etc. And we have seen this all kind of things. So basically, and so one organ alone, as per it has four types of function, and so we give four types of names also. Four different names are there according to function, which is a same organ performs at a particular time a particular type of function. And so we see this in our.
In that you added a Shubha and Suresh?
So we see this in our daily life, basically. So like, in a same person is called as per the function at a particular time, gets a new status, new name, etc. A person is called officer and a householder and a sports person or secretary and this and that. So all secretary at the club, etc. So this one person alone, as per the name, functions at a particular time, which he performs. Accordingly, we give a name. So Vidyaranya uses the word manaha here, but we have to understand that it has all the four types of functions are included. Manaha dasha indriya adhyaksham, the mind presides over all the 10 indriyas, and 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas. Because only when the mind is behind this particular indriya, it can perform a very deliberate function. Now, what is the golakam of the mind? Indriyas have a golakam in this gross body, so mind also has a particular place. So they say mind has two places actually. That's very correct. So while functioning in a Jagrata Avastha etc., it is there in the brain. It's its office. Mind has an office called brain during a waking state. And then, and then a whole day he works in the office, and then he goes back to the home in the evening. So, in the night, he goes back to the home, and that home is Hridayam. So, it has been told here as a Hrut Padma, because the heart is basically, it's an inverted lotus. Heart has that kind of a shape, inverted lotus, and which is not opened, that kind of a lotus. So, so heart is its residence. And how it goes from office to the home, what is the route? All our nadis. All our nadis are there, and that description is there in Upanishad. I am not telling you some imagination. There is a very beautiful description how the mind travels through the nadi, and goes to the home, take rest, and then in between again he gets up and walks out of the home and goes to a particular nadi. Now that nadi, I don't remember whether it is a Puritat or Hita or something, but it comes out of his home, and then the whole dream world is created. So this is how it's been told. So during waking state, he remains active in the brain in his office, and in the evening, he goes back to his home through the nadis, and that home is basically heart. So these are golak. Basically heart, we should say, where he resides, and so that is his golakam. Jagrat and Sapnavastha also has been included here actually, but so we should understand that, let's include that Sapnavastha means that in Sapnavastha also it comes to the office. Let's say that way. Anyway. So, but during Sushupti it withdraws from the entire body and goes to the Hridayam. So, and they call it as a, so there is a, when it is there in the brain, mind is there in the brain, where it's a particularly present in the mind. In the brain it is particularly present. And particularly present means, you shoot at booted. Like a person comes to the office, you will find him in a particular dress, etc., and particular attire, etc. And like when it goes back to the home, he will be very casual, etc. So here the Antakaranam, mind is there in two places, but we say the mind is present in a particular form in a brain, and it is present in a general way in our heart. They call it Samanya Antakaranam in a Sushupti Avastha, and Vishesh Antakaranam during waking state and dream state, because it functions, it does a function. So when it functions, it has a particular form, right? And so when it doesn't function, definitely it is in general form. So Samanya Antakaranam. Anyway, Hrit Padme Golake Sthitam. Hridayam is this Golakam for the mind. Tacha Antakaranam, and that is a internal organ. Actually, what happens is, internal organ, when we cannot say, because all our senses, organs of action and sense organ, all are inside, along with the mind. Then mind alone is called internal organ. For that there is a reason, actually. For that there is a reason. And the reason is that during Jagrat Avastha, actually mind also comes to the surface, Mind also pervades the entire body. And so as though it looks that, because mind comes to his office, that is brain, and pervades the entire body. And therefore it is external also. But what happens is, even though it pervades the entire gross body, but it cannot contact the external world directly. Mind cannot establish a relationship with the external world directly. It has to establish the relation through the sense organs or organ of action. And therefore, it is, compared to the sense organs or organ of actions, it is considered internal. That's all. Compared to sense organs or organ of action, because it cannot directly contact, means what? It has to come through a sense organ or organ of action, whatever. Definitely, so compared to the mind, sense organs and organ of actions are external to the world. That's how we say. Because sense organ, it has to contact the world through the senses, and that is sense organs or organ of action. So in that way we consider as a internal, and that has been told in the by the Vidyaranya Swami himself. Bahyeshu aswatantrayat. Why we call antakaran, why we call mind as an internal organ? Because without aswatantrayat, without freedom, well, to contact the bahyeshu, bahya padartheshu, well, without the vina indriyahi, means without the intervention of the sense organs, the mind cannot definitely contact bahya padartha, so external world, and therefore definitely mind is considered as a internal organ. Compared to that, the senses or the organ of actions are external. Indriyas are external. Mind is internal. That's how antakaranam. And that is bahyakaranam. Now let's go to the next verse. Aksheshvartharpi artharpitesh अक्षेश्वर्थार्पितेष्वेतत् गुणदोषविचारकं सत्वं रजस्तमश्चास्य गुणा विक्रियते हितैः. So अक्षेषु अर्थार्पितेषु एतत् मनः गुणदोषविचारकं भवति. So, well, in this shloka Vidyaranya is talking about some aspect, more aspects of the mind. One thing is that it is internal, that's one aspect. Compared to the organs of action or senses, it is internal. And we have given the reason also, well, that requires basically sense organs to contact the world. It cannot contact directly, etc. That's how it is internal. Now more aspects which are unique to the mind has been discussed here. Well, it says sense organs can only present the sense objects, but they cannot, qualify their nature or character, good or bad, etc. That has been determined by the mind. So it's very, very, very funny thing actually. The sense organs actually report to the mind. Whatever is there, this sound or form or color, or a particular taste or a particular smell, particular touch, that is being picked up by the sense organs, well, and they report to the mind. Then mind definitely decides whether good, bad, etc. That has been the value judgment is on the particular sense object is done by the mind. So that is the role of the mind. It's a unique feature of the mind which does a value judgment of a sense object. So, well, the sense organ will present, a particular, especially in food. Let's talk about the food itself, where it is very simple to understand. A particular food which you like. And so sense organ basically picks up and tells that this is sweet. But then that particular sweet is a good sweet or a bad sweet, that is decided by the mind. And then other things also, whether I should take the sweets or not because of some sugar problem or anything. Well, that is also decided by the mind. So basically sense organs are just reporters to the mind. And then mind does a judgment, whether good, bad, etc. of that sense object. That judgment is done by the mind. So this is a very unique function of the object of the mind. So gunadosha vicharakam manaha. So gunadosha vicharakam. So mind makes this value judgment on everything, whatever is there outside in this creation. It may be a situation, it may be object, it may be a person. Gunadosha vicharakam. So, well, whether it is good or bad, that is decided by the mind. And once that is decided, immediately raga dvesha will arise. Good means it will like. And dosha means definitely it won't like. Like if this particular object is a food object, you think that it is a food. Let's say it is a laddu. Think it. What a big deal. It's a good laddu, of Tirupati laddu. Big. So it a sense organ, definitely the taste, organ of taste will report that it is a sweet when you put it, definitely. I also will report it is a laddu, etc. But then taste will tell you. And then immediately mind will definitely says it is a good laddu, etc. Sometimes it happens, some fungus, etc. develops. Such things are there. So if you keep a laddu for 1 week outside in a room, in a kitchen, and then it starts, inside it develops a fungus. So when you taste, you immediately will know that fungus is there. So mind will tell it is not good for you, etc. And it has a fungus and it is not good for you. Immediately hatred develops. Dvesha, dislike develops. And if it is a good in taste and lot of cardamom, etc. is there and very fresh, so that also the judgment will be there. Mind will say it is really good. Well, then sense organ will definitely picks. So ragadveshas are generated in the mind. I am going to discuss something more actually. And people think that ragadveshas are there in the mind. No. Ragadveshas are generated in the mind, and those ragadveshas keep moving between senses, mind and intellect. They keep moving. Otherwise, Bhagavan's statement will be wrong. Indriyasya arthe ragadveshau vyavasthito. Bhagavan said very clearly in chapter 3, verse number 34, very clearly said, indriyasya arthe. Every indriya, every sense organ has a ragadvesha for a respective indriyasya arthe. Arthe means that object. Every sense organ has a likes and dislikes towards a particular sense object. And otherwise, Bhagavan should have told clearly only mind has a ragadvesha. No, Bhagavan has not told that. Bhagavan said indriyasya arthe. And therefore, but Indriyas cannot generate ragadvesha. Indriyas, the ragadvesha with respect to certain which are there in the mind, which are generated in the mind with respect to a object of a taste. Now those ragadveshas will come at the level of tongue. And immediately when you put that object, and you say, oh, I don't like it, I throw it. So the ragadveshas have come up to the level of senses. What I want to convey is this. And therefore, sense organs report the sense objects to the mind. Mind generates ragadvesha, and those ragadveshas, they are shatru. They cannot remain in one place. All the extremists in the Kashmir, they don't remain in one place. They keep moving, because otherwise they will be killed very, very soon. So these ragadveshas were basically, they are enemies of us. Ragadvesho paripanthino. Paripanthino means shatru. So they have to keep moving. So they come sometime at the level of senses, then they go to mind, then they go to intellect, again they come to the mind or go to the senses. They keep moving all the time. And so this is what I just want to convey, that gunadosha vicharakam, either it is good or bad, etc. That kind of a judgment. Vicharakam means it is a judge. Mind is a judge basically. Vichara means a judgment. Vicharakaha means basically judge. So it is a judge. Mind is a judge, sitting judge for good and bad. And good and bad mind decides on the basis of the data brought by the sense organs. So this is how we have to understand. So two things, the sense organs can present the objects, but they cannot make judgments on them, while the mind can make judgments on the objects after the objects are presented to them. Mind cannot bring the objects. Mind cannot go out independently. Keeping aside all the sense organs, keeping aside them, mind can go out and pick up the objects. That cannot be done. So basically sense organs can present objects and they cannot make judgments, and mind can make judgments, but mind can definitely cannot contact the objects directly. Mind cannot present the objects by itself. So this is how they have a complementary function. Mind and sense organs function in a complementary manner. Aksheshu artha arpiteshu. Aksha, I have told you sense organ. So Aksha also means karmendriya also, but now we are taking here right now sense organ. When the sense organs arpiteshu, when the sense organs fall on the sense artha means sense object. When the sense organ fall on the sense objects, manaha gunadosha vicharakam, so the mind that makes the judgment about those sense objects. So, and how does it make a judgment? What is the basis for making a mind for a specific judgment? Now that question will come. So that has been discussed here. That basically, Vidyaranya says, Sattvam Rajaha Tamaha cha asya gunaha. Asya means manasaha or antakkaranas. Well, this antakkarana has a three types of guna. Antakkarana has a three type of guna. Asya gunaha. Asya means the sixth case. Antakkaranasya gunaha. Well, mind has a three gunas. That's not correct. That is a way of saying. Mind is three gunas, basically. Mind has three gunas. Mind does not have three gunas. Mind is basically guna. It is made up of gunas only. Sattvam, Rajaha, Tamaha. So this mind is basically made up of Panchamahabhutas. We will have to go that way. Mind is made up of five subtle elements, right? And we have seen that chart. If you remember, I can't expect it, but this is So all from the Maya, Brahmashraya Maya. Here Brahma, we have to forget the word Brahma. Here Sat Ashraya Maya. The Maya which is there as a non-separate from the Sat, from that Maya is a Trigunatmika, which has a three gunas, which is three gunas basically. Maya is three gunas. And these three gunas, from that there are five elements, subtle elements are born, tanmatras. And then every element which is born of the Maya also will have a three gunas, because Maya is a cause, karana gunaha karya vartante. And therefore, so the Maya which is Trigunatmika, those three gunas will be there in every element also, five elements, tanmatras, subtle elements. And out of the sattva aspect of all the five elements, mind is born. And so basically, mind is born out of sattva aspect, that's correct, but there will be another malin sattva it is. We have seen that in Pancadasi in the first chapter. There is a malin sattva. Malin sattva means other things will be there. Rajoguna, Tamoguna also will be there along with. And therefore, mind is basically having three gunas. And so, because of that, there will be a variation in terms of the thought patterns and everything. And based on that, judgments will be different. And then based on that, ragadveshas will be different, etc., etc. So that is what he is discussing now. So, because everything is ultimately born of Maya, right? And therefore not just mind, entire subtle body. In fact, we have seen the Jnanendriyas also are born of Sattva aspect of the five elements. Then Karmendriyas are born of basically Rajas aspect of the five elements. And collectively from the Rajas aspect, pranas are born, etc. we have seen. And then Panchikaranam, grossification, and then gross body also is born. So gross body or a subtle body or a karana shariram, all have three gunas. Please understand this. All of the three have a gunas only. And if you want to see about karana shariram, etc. also, please go back to the chapter 1 of Pancadasi. So don't expect me to say everything here again. So we have discussed, how everything has come out, how there is a Ishvara and how is Jiva, etc., etc. Out of the three gunas, Sattva aspect and Tamas aspect of this Prakriti, they call that Prakriti. And Brahman associated with this to become Ishvara, Nimitta, Karanam and this. And then Rajas aspect of that, Brahman gets associated with that Rajas aspect of the Prakriti or Maya and becomes Jiva, etc. And Raja indicates it's a mixture of, because it is between. How can you say Raja means it's a mixture of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas? Basically, Raja indicates it because it is in between. And therefore, it is a Sattva aspect also, it has Tamas aspect also. Anyway, So, Malina Sattva, we otherwise called. So, all the three, I mean, gross body, subtle body, and ultimately even a causal body, all these are nothing but a manifestation of guna only, Maya only. And they are present in, these three gunas are there, present in all the people. And the difference will be in different people, will be in the relative proportion of these three gunas. And so, even in a Jnani also, these three gunas are there, but maybe predominantly Sattva. So, these kind of differences are there. But Swamiji, what brings why everything is ultimately of the three gunas? Why there is a difference? The difference is based on one's own karma. That's all. Whatever sharira you have is based on your karma. So, my mind basically, Sukshma Sharira, well, my mind is more sattvic, and then definitely I might have done good karmas in the past. Or my mind is very, very dull, does not understand anything. Dullness is there, foolishness is there, lethargy is there. Definitely this has been given by the Lord, right? Sharira is given by the Lord as a karma phala. Therefore, it is all papa karmas. But even though that is there, that's a predominantly. But even the person who is a sattvika, he understands everything at every time. But sometimes he also does not understand, right? It happens that. And therefore, we always say it's a mixture. It's a mixture. Punya Papa keep manifesting, and accordingly guna's guna gets manifestation. But basically you cannot experience guna. It is all Maya. Maya cannot be experienced. It's a cause of the entire creation. Cannot be experienced. And therefore guna karya in form of thoughts, vrittis, you will experience. And that is what he is going to discuss in the coming verses, etc. that we will see tomorrow here. So Sattvam, Raja, Tamaha cha asya gunaha for this antakaranam or the manaha, etc. or manaha, buddhi, etc. ahankara and chittam, etc. These three gunas are the constituents. And that gunas also, I told you that is not available for perception, but you can do anuman depending upon your thought. But Swamiji, how will I know everything? Please refer to chapter number 14 of Bhagavad Gita. Whole thing is beautifully discussed. What kind of a vritti you have, depending upon that, what is the predominance at that time, what guna is predominant at that time, you will come to know. So very beautifully discussed. Of course, Vidyaranya is going to discuss here in short, but if you want to know in detail, that right now in my mind which guna is predominant, if you want to know, then definitely you should refer that chapter 14 in which Bhagavan has discussed varieties of the thoughts are there, and depending upon the thought pattern or the quality of a thought, etc., well, you can infer that this particular guna is right now predominant. So Sattvam, Rajah, Tamaha cha asya antakaranasya gunaha and manaha vikriyate. So basically, and so manaha vikriyate means varieties of the thoughts are generated in the mind. So that is, we'll see, we'll keep up to this 14th verse, etc. We'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.